Hi creative friends, this is Freya and thank you so much for being here. So this is my color journal and I am going to do a flip through and tell you some of the things that I learned by doing this and using the palettes that I use and the color combinations, etc. And I'm sure that if I came back to it in 3 months or 6 months or a year, I would come up with even more things that I have learned from it that just haven't kind of settled in yet. So this is the cover and I went with a neutral palette. I wasn't thinking too much about, what kind of neutrals. I went with a Payne's Gray and I used a lot of the background. And what I got from this spread is that I really love neutrals more than I can explain. Like, of course, I love my bright colors. I love bright colors, but equally so, I really love neutrals. And this is my handmade collage over here, and the pink really pops. Like if this little piece of collage with the pink was in a palette that had a lot of other bright colors, it wouldn't have the same impact. So I really learned how much I love neutrals by doing this palette. Now this palette over here, I absolutely really love. I went with a cool blue, kind of greenish blue, aqua kind of a color, and I really do love it. And I again use the background collage. I incorporated that into my art, and once again I really love the little pops of color over here. I think that because it's so blue dominated and neutrals over here, the colors really pop. So I am really loving this spread, and when I go to work in another journal, I might kind of come and look back at this and say, I really love this, so let me try to replicate this. And so one of the things I hope that I'm conveying with my color videos is it's not only the color combinations, but the color proportions. That's the magic. That is really the magic of the entire palette. Now over here I have a very hot spread, and again it's the reverse of this. So over here it's like everything is really hot, from the oranges to the yellows to there's a little bit of pink over here. But once again, I am drawn to the blues and the neutrals because they really pop by contrast. So I also really love this color combination as well. It's something that I will try to replicate in another art journal. Now, this one here started off with a pink. Like, I set the intention to go with pink, but for some reason it just didn't work out, and I ended up going with magenta. And I really do love the magenta with this kind of, I don't know what you want to call it. I guess it's a blue. It's a light blue, but there are some hints of green in here. So I'm really digging this color palette, and it's something, again, I might want to replicate. Now, this is my very green dominated palette, and honestly, I like parts of it, but I'm not really feeling it. I do like these spots of red here. I like, the burnt sienna over here. That was part of my initial collage that I had laid down, and I think those are tea bags. So I do like it, but this is not a favorite spread of mine. And the thing about color is it's so personal. Like, somebody else might look at this and they might love, the color combinations. I personally, it's not my favorite. There are things about it that I like, but I wouldn't try to replicate this one. Now, this one over here I really love, and I went with a neutral. And one of the things I remember is that I kept on wanting to reach for my Liquitex transparent burnt sienna for the faces, because that's just my natural go-to. But I really love the way these grays just kind of appeared. I love the little bits of handmade collage that are adding so much to it. I love the pink, I love the polka dots. So I would try to replicate this spread as well. I really love it. Now this one over here is a color palette that I took a color class many, many years ago, and my teacher, she was a color she was just obsessed with color. And one of the things she made us do is she made us do 100 small paintings. And this was a long time ago, so I'm going to try to retell the story as best as I remember. And they were 100 small paintings. So when I say paintings, I mean they were very small, because when you're doing, you know, little like color swatches, the samples are not big. And she gave us this color palette, which is a very limited color palette, and it was titanium white, yellow ochre, and Payne's gray. Now I had the added advantage of using the collage that was already on the page, so I have a little bit of pinks and burnt siennas. But if you're going to replicate this, you would only use 3 colors, and they are the titanium white, the Payne's gray, and the yellow ochre. And then you would make like 100 small little paintings, and you would make them, you would use each of them in different proportion for each painting, and you can get 100 paintings that look very, very, very different from each other. And it's a really good exercise to learn not only about color but about value. It's an excellent exercise. Now over here, what I did is I went with only 2 art supplies, and I went with my cashew chalk paint and a Stabilo graphite pencil. Those were the only 2 art supplies I used. And of course I did have the advantage again of using the collage that was already on the page. And I love this. I really do love this palette. I love how understated it is. I just love it. I love everything about it. It's moody, it's intense, it's layered and lush, and I just love it. I really love this spread, and I would totally try to replicate that. Now over here, I went with one of my all-time favorite color combos, which is the complementary colors of blue and orange. And I think what I learned from this, and it was a bit of a surprise to me, is I loved all the grunginess that happened. So normally when I use these 2 colors, I go for like the bright, you know, bright, bright, bright. But over here, I just went with a lot of grungy kind of like grays and just moody kind of colors. And I really love it. I really do love it. And I would try to replicate that as well. Now over here, I used a sari as inspiration, and the yellow was already on the page, so I just added the blue. And one of the big takeaways I got from this is that in order for me to like this palette and for it to fit in with my visual language, it needed to be this yellow and this blue. And what I mean by that is, if this was a lighter yellow or if this was a lighter blue, I don't think it would have worked with my visual language. Now, it might work with somebody else's visual language, but in order for me to like this, and I do like it, it has to be like, you know, a deep, deep yellow and a deep, like this is an ultramarine navy blue. Now over here, what happened is I set the intention to go for orange and neutrals. So I said, okay, I can use any kind of neutrals, but I was going to pair it with the orange. And for the longest time, I didn't know what to do with the background. So I went in with my chalk paint and ink, and then I just kind of lightened it up a little bit for the top part here. So there's a little bit of a horizon line, not much, but you know, you can see the clear difference. I don't know if the camera's picking up on that, but certainly in real life, there is a difference between this little piece and this piece. And I think it's this little piece that kind of makes the whole thing work, because if this whole thing was black, I just don't think it would work as much. And I really do like this palette. Now, again, this is my handmade collage over here, and I am using the background as well. And I kind of consider this a bit of a cheat, because the collage that I added has like some pinks in it. So, you know, I didn't strictly stay with the orange and neutrals. I did add a little bit of the pinks. And I really like this palette, and I think in this proportion, it gives it a very rich yet understated look, and I love it, and I would replicate that as well. Now over here, I went with pink. That was the intention I set, but honestly, when I look at it, it's more like pink and blue. I didn't mean to, like, you know, dominate the page with so much of the blue, but that's what it ended up being. And I really do like this color combination. I don't know if I would try to replicate it. There are things about it I like and things about it I don't like. Like I really like this part of the hair. Okay, so let me explain it. So this part of the hair is blue, but it's a different shade of blue than this blue. And I like the dots on it. So when I go to work in another art journal, I might come and look at this and say, you know what, I want to replicate this. I want to make a blue background and I want to make the hair this blue and put these dots on it. So I could just take this part of it and try to replicate it in another journal. Another thing I really like is I really like the tea bag over here, and I didn't put any paint on this. This is just dictionary pages, and then over top of it I put my tea bags, and I really love this. Like I love this kind of like just beautiful antique textured layered gorgeousness. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Another thing is I really love this like hot pink for a bindi, and usually when I make the bindi, which is like so a bindi is like the red dot, and then I extend it into the hair. Usually I use red, but I'm really loving the way it turned out here. And another wonky thing that happened is when I had some pink on my hands and I kind of went to mark the lips, but when I went to go and draw in the features, the lips actually ended up being lower. But I really like the wonkiness of it. Like the pink was supposed to be for the like to show the lips, but it's actually above the lips, and I kind of like the way that turned out. So I might take parts of this and try to replicate it, but I don't think I would replicate the whole thing. Now over here I went with, God, I'm trying to remember, what did I did here is I just used one color. I used Payne's Gray, but I used like a few different art materials, but they were all in the same color. So I used my chalk paint and ink, and that's kind of a Payne's Gray, and I used my graphite Stabilo, and I used a couple of pens, I think, but they were all in that same color, and I really love this. Now again, I have the advantage of using the collage that was already laid out on the background, so it's not like I was going into a plain white page, because that would be a lot more difficult. You know, you can still do that, but you're not going to get all the additional colors and marks and lines that you get when you're working over top of collage. So I really love this, and I would try to replicate this as well. Now this is my last spread, and this is absolutely no surprise to me. I absolutely love it. It's red on red on red with gold. Okay, this is my jam, you guys. Like this makes me so insanely happy. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it to the ends of the earth and back. Like this is my jam. And when you work in a book like this and you experiment with all different color, you know, different colors and palettes and whatever, like I could look at this and I could say, you know what, I really love this. You know, I really, I love this, and I really love this as well. Like I would try to replicate it, etc. But this is what lights me up. This is what fills me up with joy. This is like indescribable. It's just like, this is my jam. So I know, like, you know, this is what I love. I love red and gold. Now, I'm not going to paint every single page red and gold in everything that I do, but I know that when, you know, when it comes to it, like this is my jam. Like this is what I absolutely love. And it's important to know what you love, because that's how you strengthen your visual language. So anyways, you guys, I hope that this has been inspiring, and, you know, like I hope I've conveyed like how color is, you know, nothing exists in a vacuum. It's all dependent on every other part of the page, and it's the proportion of the color that is the most important thing, I would say, rather than the actual color combination that you use. It's the proportions of the colors that you use. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.